In my last video, I decided that I wanted to build yet another custom mountain and lake. I spent over 60 hours on this episode, this time building an elegant beacon shrine as the crown jewel. Anyway, how's it going? My name is Mod, and in today's episode, I plan on making a beautiful shrine on top of an absolutely massive custom mountain. Wait, I know what you're thinking, but Mod, where's the mountain time lapse? I forgot to hit record. Yeah, I forgot to unpause my recording on replay mod, which might be a bit of a problem, seeing as that's kind of the whole point, but we'll make it work. Now that we finished placing our dirt, it's time to put down our water. Okay, this is looking pretty good so far. It does seem like something's missing though. So I'm gonna go grab some fish, tropical fish to be exact, and then we'll get to work on those trees. We have arrived! Ooh, pumpkins. And just as we run out of rockets. Perfect. So, I mean, I guess I can just release these fish here right now. Be free! I just realized I need to name the fish. Otherwise, they're just gonna despawn. So while I'm naming the fish, I think it's about time for a little tree time lapse. And I gotta say, building custom trees takes just so much time. And that's not all though, since getting the resources and wood for the trees is painful as well. The amount of diamonds and levels that I use just in order to repair the hose could basically be a whole episode on its own. I'd also like to take the time to give my thanks. This channel has seen some pretty explosive growth over the past few weeks, so thank you again. The support means the world, and I try replying to every comment that I see, so don't be afraid to comment any suggestions or questions you might have. Okay, so it looks like we're pretty much out of wood and out of leaves, but the progress is looking pretty good so far. I've got a lot of cherry blossoms down and just some regular leaves. But like, this tree needs some work. I'm still not done with it. I just ran out mid-build session. So I'll be right back and grab some leaves. This might take a while. Alright, so a couple of hours and many hoes later, we finally managed to get a bunch of leaves. I think I have like 5 or 6 shulkers of them. And with that, we're back to our building time lapse. I wanted to say thanks to Sander I'm not gonna try pronouncing your last name, with a great suggestion. As you may know, Endermen have plagued my world for ages, and there's often random holes in my builds where Endermen steal my blocks. So, in order to combat this, Sander recommended Zoom Avoid's anti-Enderman grief mod, so hopefully from now on we won't be seeing any more random blocks missing. Alright, so this is about what's done so far, and I'm pretty happy with the progress. Now, what's left to do is to build the shrine itself, and thank you to everyone who suggested it. I'll have a couple comments up on screen now, and don't be afraid to suggest your ideas for the next video. So I think our plan here with the shrine is to try and make it the highlight of the mountain, while also not making it too overpowering, since I'd like to give a bit of the shine to all the custom trees, cliffs, the flower fields we're going to build, and the overall nature of the build. But it's important not to forget that our main focus is the beacon shrine with its colorful formations. I'm hoping to have around 4 beacons emitting out of the shrine itself, although I'm a little worried that 4 may be a few too many. I'll probably end up having to take down some of the surrounding beacons, not only so I have enough beacons to actually use in the shrine, but also in order to make sure that the shrine gets that shine it deserves. Now, the last big step I'd like to tackle in this plan would be adding more to the lake. Don't get me wrong, I think the lake turned out gorgeous, but adding something like an ecosystem of lily pads, a group of lanterns, or flowers floating on top of some type of trap door could seriously add a lot to this build. And before I go ahead and show you guys the shrine in first person, I have to say I lost a little bit of the footage, so there may be like a slight jump cut, and I'm pretty new to this whole YouTube thing, so I'll get better and not forgetting to hit the unpause on my replay mod as the series progresses. Alrighty, I'd say the shrine is looking pretty spectacular. I'm pleased with how the size turned out and the way it almost rests on the mountainside. And despite it being much smaller than the other builds we have around the mountain, it still does its job of standing out and acting as the mountain's almost crown jewel. And I'm sure that this effect will be amplified even more once we add those beacons into the build. So let's go ahead and add the beacons, of course. Now all that's really left to do is add in the interior. Oh, and we can't forget about the stained glass. And I'm hoping to add a viewing area at the entrance of the beacon shrine, just so when you go inside for the first time, you can actually see what the purpose of the shrine is. And I'd also like to add a beacon keeper's quarters. acting almost kind of like a lighthouse keeper's quarters, which will be upstairs. Interior time-lapses are sort of a pain in the butt to film, especially when using a program like Replay Mod, but we'll just have to make it work. I tried using a few blocks that I normally don't really use in builds like amethyst and regular wool, which I had actually pretty recently rediscovered was craftable using string. I know, give me a break, alright? I rarely used wool in my builds before having to make custom cherry blossom trees out of the stuff. So discovering string can make wool was pretty revolutionary for me. Oh, and please excuse the audio in the next clip, I had the wrong mic selected. We finished the interior to our little temple here. So as we head up, we get a nice view of the beacons right here, so maybe some monks or something come up and pray to the beacons, almighty beacons. But we have a couple tables, you know, in case you just want to sit down. But this is it for the first floor. And if we come over here, we see a staff only sign. Here we have the beacon keepers, you know, quarters. So we got a couple stairs here, and here's his cute little abode. You can sleep here, get some work done. And here he has a great open closet, because our beacon keeper is very fashionable. I'll put some villager in there eventually. The next thing I'd like to do would be to make some sort of path that kind of leads and winds all the way down, eventually getting to the lake here. And that'll be the start to, you know, the network we have where it all connects up to the city and to the other, you know, parts of Hikari no Machi and up to the temple over there. You can't see it from here, but the temple over there. Since we're all done with the main part here, we just gotta get those little things done. And boy, did we do a lot of little things. We ended up covering the entire mountain, yes, the entire thing, in fields, flowers, and leaves. Just the amount of bone meal I had to use in my flower farm was more than I had used in quite a while, and that's just for the flowers. Not to mention farming like half of my massive wheat field just to have enough seeds to fill a huge area that this field required. I honestly have no idea why I thought this would only take like an hour, because it took an entire day of building. After taking a second to really appreciate what I'm doing, I realized that this mountain is really starting to remind me of Antler Boy's world. I guess I've taken a lot of inspiration from Antler Boy, since I get a lot of the ideas on how I want to do things from his videos. But man, I'm so glad that I discovered that you can turn string into wool, especially since I have a little creeper farm, which I pretty much only used for gunpowder. Even though it spawned both creepers and spiders, I didn't really know what to use the string for, but I guess now I found something. And with planning this new city, I really needed to use a lot of the wool that I had, and I had quite a bit of white wool just kind of sitting around not doing anything, so I figured I'd use that for the planning. I'm really excited to plan that city because I can kind of just build it in my own way rather than relying on the natural terrain that already surrounds it, since I can just build my own custom terrain and then build the city on top of that. I'm hoping to have a bunch of little alleys and cracks and crevices you can kind of explore for your own, and hopefully we can make all of the buildings in the city have their own interior. And since Hikari no Machi is its own little project on its own, I wouldn't really consider that city to be a part of it. So if you guys have any ideas for what the new city should be called, do leave your suggestions down below. Moving on from the city, I would like to bring our focus back onto the shrine. I would say that I'm pretty happy with it. The lake turned out just the way I wanted it. Maybe I could have done with a couple more fish, but I'd say it came out gorgeous. It matches well with the rest of the world. It really meshes in. And the nice thing about this sort of design that I go with a lot of the time is that it's really easily expandable. The one thing I didn't get done though that I really did want to get done this episode was making a winding path kind of going up the mountain and up to that shrine. I spent a pretty ridiculous amount of hours on this project, so it looks like that's gonna have to be it for today's episode. But we made a lot of progress this video, and there are plenty of new plans that I have for future videos. So I'd like to thank every single one of you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.